world changers or wannabe world changers who think they have to change a billion people, and there's the real world changers who change the world for one person.
To say rejection is not a bad thing. It's the fertilizer for your dreams to grow in.
But if I quit, then I've lied to them and I've lied to myself.
Self-confidence really does come from keeping your word to yourself. Every time that you keep your word to yourself on what you said you were going to do, you build a little bit of self-confidence, right?
I'm David Specht, and this is Keep This in Mind.
All right, good morning, and it's Thursday. And of course, what do we know Thursday means? Thursday means it's our live podcast recording for Keep This in Mind. I am David Specht, and my perma guest, our partner in crime, Omar Medrano, is here this morning. Good morning, Omar. How are you, sir?
I'm doing amazing, man. I always love the fact that you can pronounce my last name, unlike some people in Tennessee.
Well, Louisiana accents and Tennessee accents are a little bit different, so maybe we have a little leg up. Hey,
maybe that's it.
So, let's get into it this morning, my friend. I want to talk about, because I think a lot of people are going through this. A lot of people I've talked with in my circles are dealing with this, and I want to call it now money versus future money. And what I mean by that is there seems to be these two competing things, right? There's I want to find my purpose in the world. I want to make an impact in the world. I want to make lots of money in the world, but I also have to pay my bills, and it takes time to build one thing, and then but I have these immediate needs. And I want us to kind of just dive into that. It's not either or, it's and.
Definitely. It needs to be. Unless you were modern day Vanderbilt or JP Morgan or a Hilton or a Marriott. Yes, people don't have unlimited funds, and they need to do two things. They need to pay their mortgage, and they need to invest in their future business.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about what now money kind of looks like, and then we'll dive into what future money can kind of look like. For many of us, now money is that current job, right? It's the thing you went to school for. It's the thing that you did coming out of high school or coming out of college, or maybe it's a gig job, maybe you're Ubering or Door Dashing or something. It's the thing that's paying the bills now. And one of my things that I try to say is, what you do now is an audition for what you do in the future. Or as other coaches say, how you do today's job is your interview for your next job. The truth of the matter is you've got to do now right. You've got to put the effort in as if it were your long-term job. And the reason I say this is because habits are built over time. And if you are developing a lackadaisical habit just because you don't like the job, or you don't feel like you're being paid enough, that habit will bleed over into that future aspiration. So, Omar, I want to ask you the question, because you and I are in a similar situation. We're in our 50s now. Congratulations on passing that landmark there last year.
I'm almost in my mid 50s. Next month, in 2 months, 53. So, but thank you for saying I just turned 50. I'll take it.
Time flies, brother. But here's the thing: we both are in current jobs, current vocations that it's not our long term. We know that. So, kind of talk to that about when your heart. You got to put your heart in it when your heart's not in it.
Yeah. Clearly, we both have families. I've got 2 adult daughters. You have adult sons. You have a mortgage. You have responsibilities. Those will always come first. Enough of listening to the gurus or whomever. Follow your passion. A lot of times, your passion, especially if at ground zero, will not pay any money. And in fact, a lot of times it's the opposite. You start bleeding out. So the main focus right now is, to me, pay your bills. Whatever left over, yes, invest in yourself, invest in your future. Don't invest in a $50 pizza. Don't invest in uh, d- uh, Aaron Hernandez signed jersey. You know, don't.
Oh, nice. So, and I would say too, effort. Right, you gotta build the effort muscle, and these gurus that say, oh, work your day job from 9 to 5 and work your dream job from 5 to midnight. The thing is that 9 to 5 needs the same amount of effort that 5 to midnight.
Always. And then you have to leave the ego in your car,
Mm,
or the ego at home.
yes.
My childhood friends or fraternity brothers, do I tell whatever boss I've had who I am or what I did? No, because that's not what he hired me for. There, there's no need for me, because then, quite frankly, he's like, then why are you here? And he has a valid point. So I always leave the ego. It's not like I tell him, well, if this was my company, or I can consult you on marketing or increasing or lowering. No, because that's not what I'm hired. So that's not he. My boss doesn't need to know if I wrote books or if I have a podcast or a TEDx talk. None of that matters, because what matters is I need to do some. I need at the moment time. I am a tool for his dreams.
Mm-mm. And you're compensated for it, right? I love there was a fellow that I used to follow that said, vocation versus occupation, right? Occupation is what you occupy your time with to make money, and vocation is what you believe is your purpose in this life. And that occupation, it still is what's out there that's paying your bills, and you have to respect it as that. For me, I've seen, I thought that the newspaper industry was my vocation, and it was for 30 years. But that is transitioning into something else, and now I'm picking up occupations to fill the gaps left by the reduction in income from my former occupation or my former vocation. And those occupations, it's wild. It's like I pick up side gig hustles. I'll do, as you well know, Omar, I've stepped into real estate feeling that may be a potential vocation, but right now it's an occupation because the money is not coming in. I'm not getting ready to be on HGTV and Property Hunters or anything like that.
You're not going to be on Netflix.
No, I mean I
So,
could be. I mean they're putting just about
selling Middle
anybody on
Tennessee.
Netflix these
That's the
days.
new
Yeah,
selling.
selling Tennessee. But
Selling Tennessee.
but the truth of the matter is we get that effort trains you for the next thing. That effort. When I drive Uber, and I drive Uber from here, every once in a while, I raise now money. It's the unbudgeted, vacation spending money, the things that you don't,
Of
you're not
course.
really, planning for. And when I'm out there, I'm trying to give the best customer service. I'm trying to be that listening ear. I'm the person that'll just leave you alone if you just want to, stare at your phone for the 15 minutes that you're in the vehicle with me. And what I have found is that is honing a skill in me that I would have gotten nowhere else. That is putting me in places and talking to people that I would never come into contact with before. It's opening my eyes to different things. And so as I'm working that now money, a lot of the lessons I'm learning are preparing me for future money.
Well, not only is it preparing you for future money, but a lot of people just have this hang up of what defines them is a title.
Mm-hmm.
I don't define you as a newspaper guy. I don't define you as the media guy, the Uber guy, the realtor guy. People have this hang up that that's who they are. That's just a title given to you. But that doesn't define you as a man. That doesn't define you as a father. That doesn't define who you are. So once we get past that, you know, the only thing, yes, you might be doing you have to realize everything is temporary.
Mhm.
Whether it's showing this house, whether it's selling them on why to get a listing. You can get right now 10 listings and sell them all, but that's just temporary. And that's why we always have to be even keel.
Mm.
I mean, that's the one thing, the grades that what separates the, Wayne Gretzky, I'm sure doesn't think about, all the cups he won or it was always on to the next thing because it's like that Nick Saban, the 24-hour rule. You can't bask over your wins and you can't be wallowing in your losses. You just have to dust yourself up, get up, move on. Or if you won, yeah, that was yesterday. What's going to be done for today?
Oh man, that will preach. That will definitely preach. I think about, you and I love our sports metaphors, and I think about like Tiger Woods too. One of the things, was he a great athlete? He was one of the most amazing athletes, but his ability to lock in on the shot that he's taking, regardless of the shot he took before, was his secret to all of the successes that he had. If he had a good shot, fine. He framed in the next shot just on the next shot. If he had a bad shot, if he three putted or four putted on a hole, God forbid, he didn't carry that to the next drive. He was able, for whatever reason, again, he might have been built differently, but he was able to compartmentalize to that one shot. And I think for us, as we're navigating the now money while building the future money, we have to be able to compartmentalize so that we can be 100% focused on the task at hand in the now. And then when it's time to begin to invest, and we'll get a little bit deeper into this as we go through the podcast, but then also in preparation for the next.
Always, always. You always have to think about your next 2, 3, 4 steps, but be in the moment. When you said Tiger Woods, he was so locked in, but he was so confident.
Hmm.
And him and Larry Bird would walk in like that story. Larry Bird would walk into the All-Star game and said, "Okay, who's going to come in second place at the 3-point contest?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was the same thing with Tiger Woods. If he made the cut, which in his prime he always did,
Mhm.
there was that, oh my gosh, even if he wasn't ahead, everybody was focused on him
Mhm.
instead of focusing on what they're doing. And that's what that just was a God given talent by Larry Bird. And no, it they practice. That's something, people don't like doing the little things over and over and over again to build that foundation. Michael Jordan would always start every practice with a bounce pass, which is like, something you first thing taught
Right.
on playing basketball. Simple, all those kids, final score 8-10 or whatever, parents are watching brick after brick. First thing that those kids are taught is how to do a bounce pass. And that's the fundamentals. I mean, if you're in sales, which I say we're all in sales, do you practice? Do you practice your approach? Do you practice your script? Do you practice your greeting? Do you
Mhm.
practice just listening? That's the one thing you and I have done a million podcasts, not only together, but on our own. And it gets way better if you let the other person do all the talking.
Mm, 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 mm. So this isn't really a transition, but the what you do in the now is really tied to what you want to do next. And what I mean by that is there are certain sacrifices and investments you have to make now that won't pay off for a while. And when you're making only now money, no matter how good or how bad you're doing at it, there is a tendency to spend all you made. there's a tendency
Always.
to take that account to zero. There's that tendency to take that vacation. There's that a tendency to bet on those games. There, whatever it is, and the short-sightedness of the now money is really robbing the future money. But it's not just monetarily. And I'm going to toss it back to you here in just a second. But I think about, I know guys that consume personal development videos, podcasts. You may even be listening or watching today, but they never start implementing any of the things they're book smart, but practical stupid. I mean, they just are. And there's robbing themselves of their future money because they are not, as you said, practicing day in and day out and learning the lessons.
Well, I always tell people this all the time. Does my book work? Neither book works. Does your book work? No. Oh, Unleash the Giant Within, Awaken the Giant Within. None of those books, 10x, whatever book by whatever guru, investing book, relationship book, people consume this, get their dopamine hit, I guess, but they don't implement. And then they're like, well, I listen to Audible books a month and I do this and I do that. Well, congratulations. Are you trying to be a reviewer of personal development? Are you working for the New York Times and you want to be a book reviewer or what? Because quite frankly, and I'll tell people, all these books are boring. If you're not going to do anything, at least read fiction, that's way more entertaining.
Oh yeah. And oh my gosh. So quick story. I have the opposite problem. And that what I mean by that is I try to implement everything I read or everything I hear like immediately. And I can remember like the first time I read Good to Great, and it's like, dude, we need our hedgehog concept, the one thing that we're really good at. But here's what I learned. I may have fallen on my face a bunch of times trying to implement things that may not have been a fit, but each one of those became a lesson that now created wisdom down the line about what to try and what not to try. And, I haven't picked up a personal development book probably in 3 years. But but the memories of those lessons, every time I see an opportunity to implement or do or refer to, that comes back up in my memory. But I could have 3 years ago or up to 3 years ago, when I was consuming those books, I could have just set them on the shelf and like, hey, look at me, I read a book. But instead, I was trying to implement those things, and learning those lessons and learning what worked and what didn't work were key to figuring out my what's next. Because you know what? If you read, let's throw out there, Cardone, you know, read 10x, like, okay, I want to do what he does. Why? Well, you got all these great results. And it's like, yeah, but you're not Grant. You're not,
Exactly. That's
you're
what
you.
people don't realize, especially when they start spewing. They want to be mini Tony or mini Grant. Well, different life experiences.
Yeah.
One, you're not from Lake Charles, or two, you're not from Southern Cal. You
Right.
didn't you didn't have you didn't go through all those steps. So no matter what, and the world doesn't need another Cardone or another Anthony Robbins. They're both alive and well and healthy. So I'm assuming for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And even when they do pass, I mean, Zig Ziglar's been gone for like over 20 years.
Yeah, dead Zig Ziglar's more active on social media than I
Oh
am.
my gosh, yes. And I keep on I keep on he keeps on sending me stuff on programs and stuff. And it's like, holy smokes, man. If you would have done this when you were completely alive, I mean you would have got way further. You would have become a billionaire. But but yeah, overall too, I mean, the key to any of these books is just to do, man, on a
Mm.
consistent basis. Are you gonna fall flat? Of course, but you're falling forward. It's a lesson. Lessons always cost money, time, sometimes both.
Oh yeah.
And that's why Votech school, college, university, everything has a price because you have to pay money and you have to pay time to get those skills.
And I, and let's be real. Not like we're never real, but personal development and those in that space that are coaches and leaders, they're like the gym. They make more money off of the people that don't do what they say do than they do off the people that that do.
Because they know they're going to buy whatever free. It's always the guru always starts free program this weekend. Anthony Robbins and you're like, whoa! And before you know it, it's like $5,000 later after this free. I thought it was free.
Yeah.
And but
Well,
they'll jump onto the next because they also have this. They want to feel significant. They want to feel like they belong. That they're a part of something. So all these people feel like, hey, you know what? I'm a GC guy, or I'm a whatever guru they follow, Anthony Robbins, and they buy the merch, and it's the same aspect on why people. This is the number one thing I love. Oh, those guys are idiots. Why did they join a cult? And you don't think you've ever joined a cult, or you never wanted to belong? Because I mean,
yeah.
I joined a fraternity. I've got plenty. Everybody has these. It's because you want to be a part of something. So
Mm.
whether you're in Guyana drinking Kool Aid with Jim Jones, or Waco, it doesn't matter. People want to feel significant. People want to be a part of something, and that's what most likely a lot of times why people follow gurus.
So as we're taking our now money, we realize there's a future. But one of the things I want to talk about for our last few minutes is this: how do you figure that out? What future looks like? Because here's the thing: most people want to escape their job, but that's not a good goal for future money. It has to be tied to a what do you want to accomplish or who do you want to be?
To me, I always believe in multiple flows of income, man. If you're crushing it to your 9 to 5, and especially if you don't have a job or a boss that's a boss and not a lead, if he's a leader and he leaves you alone, like what they say in Louisiana, it's lagniappe. That's
Mhm.
bonus. That's extra. Why would you want to leave that to have less income and the unpredictability of selling something, whether it's selling your time, your services? Everything's cyclical. I mean, we all look at different things. Oh, well, every real estate agent must be like the people selling New York and selling. There's all these shows now on Netflix. I mean, it makes everybody want to do it
Mm.
because, y- they show the rock and roll lifestyle. But something tells me not every realtor in Southern Cal is listing $10 million homes and hanging with all these wealthy people either. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, and and I think that gets back to the original statement that we said. It's probably not either or. It's most likely that your
Oh,
now money
yes.
and your future money have to coexist and maybe forever. Um, for someone like me myself, yeah, I want a day to day. I want to be able to work and have a regular routine because that's how I'm wired. But then I also want to have this dream that I'm chasing that has a greater impact. And what I have found is the things I'm learning in personal development translate to my leadership skills in the office. The things I'm learning about branding translate to me helping, other people market their home or market, their business through the newspaper or whatever. The things I'm learning about AI are helping me, you know, it it can be a synergy instead of a competition.
Exactly. Ultimately, what people want is freedom. It's not the wealth aspect because you can be making $1 million and have high stress, high anxiety, and your phone nonstop blowing up. What people want is freedom in the sense possibly working for someone that's hands off, that
Mhm.
lets you lead. The ability to know, hey, I crushed it all week. Let me have Fridays off. So I can do whatever I want, whether it's to play golf, whether it's to go fly out to the next guru's seminar, whether it at SEC baseball turn well for some, I guess, not for LSU, but for like if you want to fly out to, because yes, unless you're in Nashville, all these places, you have to drive somewhere.
So I think to bring all of this home, this is what, but this is a synopsis, I think. Tell me if you agree. Don't despise the thing feeding you today, and build the thing that you want to do long term, but always know that they don't have to be competing. They can work hand in hand. And with that, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this week. Remember to follow us on social. I'm David A. Specht on all the platforms. He's Omar Medrano, or Omar Medrano Coach. You can find us also at elevatesuccesspath.com if you want to learn more about our coaching programs. Yes, we do coaching programs, but yes, we actually coach people. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. Omar, thank you again, and God bless. Thanks for keeping this in mind today. If something landed, share this with someone who needs it. And if you haven't already, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Connect with me at davidaspecht.com, and I'll see you next time. God bless.